have banned lawmakers representing populist parties on both the left and the right from participating in these conversations. Now again, we don't have to agree with everything or anything. Senator J.D. Vance thought Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett would get angry when he called her ghetto live on TV. Instead, she stayed calm, looked straight into the camera, and made history with her words. The segment was meant to focus on economic recovery in low-income communities. But as it often goes, things took a turn. J.D. Vance, with his usual smug tone, dismissed the idea of funding underprivileged schools. Jasmine waited for her moment, leaned in and corrected him, saying, "If by bad schools you mean underfunded, understaffed and ignored by state governments, then sure, let's throw all the money at them." Then Vance cut her off with the casual insult, "You're just being ghetto." The room froze, but Jasmine didn't flinch. She responded without anger, speaking directly into the camera, saying, "You hear ghetto, but I hear South Dallas. I hear survival. I hear my mother working 2 jobs, raising 3 kids, and still showing up to PTA meetings with food stamps in her purse and dignity in her walk." The clip quickly spread online, with some calling her a queen, others calling her too bold, but it didn't matter. Jasmine's words resonated with women across the country who had been called ghetto in their own lives. Her calm response struck deeper than any shout could. She wasn't just defending herself. She was speaking for every woman who had been told to shrink. This moment wasn't just a political exchange. It was cultural. Jasmine, a girl from South Dallas, had worked her way from local courts to Capitol Hill, never changing who she was. She refused to tone down her voice, her story, or her truth. J.D. Vance didn't understand the weight of his words. To him, ghetto was an insult. To Jasmine, it was a badge of resilience, a mark of survival. As the internet exploded with reactions, Jasmine kept her focus. She didn't play the game of tit for tat. Instead, she quietly and confidently stayed on her message. 3 days later, she addressed the backlash, not in a scripted press release, but in a personal video. She spoke plainly, saying, "I've been told my whole life that I'm too much, too loud, too ghetto, but I'm done apologizing for any of it." She wasn't just defending herself. She was opening a conversation about how society labels and limits people based on their identity. By the time the video hit over 1 million views, the conversation had shifted. Women from all walks of life started sharing their own stories of being labeled and dismissed. And Jasmine's words became a source of empowerment. She wasn't angry. She wasn't yelling. She was simply unapologetically herself. Days later, J.D. Vance tried again to dismiss her on another panel. But Jasmine wouldn't be erased. "You think it's emotion. I think it's lived experience," she said without raising her voice. This time, she didn't just respond to him. She reshaped the conversation. Her composure and truth left him with no comeback. And as her message spread, more people started seeing it for what it was: real leadership. Jasmine's journey wasn't just about politics. It was about reclaiming power and voice in spaces where people like her had always been expected to shrink. The next time someone calls her too much, they'll know exactly what real leadership looks like: unapologetic, unfiltered, and full of fire. Jasmine's calmness in the face of J.D. Vance's insult didn't just change the room. It set a new standard. She wasn't just a politician standing up for herself. She was showing the world what true leadership looks like. By not letting his words define her, she invited others to stand taller too. As the weeks went by, the ripple effects were felt in places she never expected: classrooms, living rooms, offices, and even locker rooms. People began to understand that this wasn't about one woman defending herself. It was about all the women who had been forced to play by rules that never fit them. The more Jasmine spoke, the clearer it became. Her fight was never just political. It was about redefining what it means to take up space to speak your truth, and to do it unapologetically. No matter how much pressure she faced, no matter how much they tried to silence her, she remained unshaken. By the time the next encounter with J.D. Vance came around, she didn't need to fight back with rage. Her presence, her words, her authenticity spoke louder than any insult ever could. And in that moment, the world didn't just hear her voice, it saw her power. Jasmine Crockett didn't just respond to an insult. She reshaped the narrative, and in doing so, she gave countless others the permission to do the same. It wasn't about winning a battle with JD Vance. It was about rewriting the rules of the room. Now when people look at her, they don't see a woman who was called ghetto. They see a woman who refuses to shrink, refuses to be silenced, and who continues to lead with grace and power, breaking barriers one truth at a time. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button. The next one will be even more